Becoming Rudy Ernst, The Journey of an Artist. Rudy Ernst is an American painter, sculptor, and writer. His career marks the transition from the old analog world of painting to the digital media of the 21st century, and his extensive body of works reflects that profound changeover. Ernst was born in 1937 in Zurich, Switzerland, and grew up in a rural village on the River Rhine near Schaffhausen and Winterthur. While growing up among farmers, Ernst also spent much of his formative years among the rich and famous of the world in the Swiss ski resort of Klosters Davos, where his family was living every year from December to March. In 1965, following a horrendous accident, Ernst suffered a 32-minute cardiac arrest during surgery. His one-year-long hospital stay would change his life forever and become the determining factor for becoming a dedicated artist. Decades later, fully recovered, he shows no handicap anymore as seen here in action. Impressionist period, 1976 to 1988. Rudy Ernst was deeply influenced by the techniques and style of the Impressionist painters of the 19th century. Growing up with original works by these masters, Ernst began to study and interpret their works on canvas in the late 1970s. Through close examination of postcard-sized reproductions, Ernst honed his skills and developed a deep appreciation for the legacy of the Impressionist movement. Just as the masters had done a century earlier, Ernst usually finished these paintings within hours, or sometimes in a couple of days, using a very small palette of oil colors: titanium white, a light cadmium red, a cadmium yellow, two different blues, ultramarine and phthalo blue-green, but mixing black from a combination of phthalo blue, red, and a touch of yellow, which was a mostly forgotten technique that the Impressionist masters commonly used. In 1982, Ernst immigrated to New York City with his wife and two sons. He started painting his own subjects in the very same Impressionist style as the old masters had used. But rather than doing landscapes, Ernst developed a personal approach by magnifying and distorting small objects and painting them onto his canvases. Dream drawings, a lifelong passion of Rudy Ernst. Early on, and throughout his life, Ernst drew countless small, original, surreal line pictures by putting down his pen but never knowing what the outcome would be. Those creative small icons have come to be known as his dream drawings, while later in life he shall do large pen and ink drawings of 30 by 22 inches. Rudy Ernst's Dark Period, 1989 to 1995. In May of 1989, Ernst's beloved German mother-in-law dies in his arms. She leaves behind a large inventory of hand-spun and woven family linen that he begins to use for his series of dark paintings and collages, and his humanoid sculptures that he shall continue to create for the next 25 years. Later, he shall remember this period as the most intense of his artistic career. Ernst's dark period also marks the beginning of his ability to break through his controlling mind that got in the way of his spontaneous creations. He now creates his pieces directly from what he calls his guts, his subconscious level, thus becoming his own observer of what happens in the artistic process. It is in disbelief that he suddenly realizes how his new works have not only become dark and monochrome, but carry distinct religious elements, of which he has been unaware. Sculptomania, 1989 to 2023. Rudy Ernst's own Bauhaus. At a very young age, from age 8 to 15, Ernst is sent to the highly respected painter Arnold Oechslin in Schaffhausen for private painting lessons, even though his thoughts were more focused on fishing in the River Rhine. The boy also works at the metal foundry and carpentry shops of the family-owned textile factory, as well as with the blacksmith and two local carpenters and cabinet makers of his rural hometown. Yet many years shall pass before Ernst realizes that, in the early years of his childhood, he not only had a well-rounded education as a craftsman, but was also learning various tricks of the trades from professional craftsmen in an environment that he came to call his own Bauhaus. Rudy Ernst remembers, "Long after our move to New York City in 1982 and my decision to become an accomplished artist, I became aware that those manual skills had long ago become a part of me. I suddenly discovered that I knew how to weld and cut metal, cut, sand down, and glue wood, work with ropes, strings, burlap, and cardboard, use tar, gesso, canvas, and wires, plant nails and screws with hammer and screwdriver, and, last but not least, I appeared to have real knowledge and a natural talent for assembling and sculpting them into art pieces. Here in Manhattan, I found a myriad of wonderful objects that I could use to make complex works of art. It also dawned on me that I had been involved in construction throughout my life and had knowledge about concrete, cement, plaster, paint, brickwork, carpentry, and trimmings, you name it." Rudy Ernst, The Humanoids, 1989 to 2023. Rudy Ernst's abstract humanoids have no arms and are not even standing on two legs. They represent a loose interpretation of the human form, reflecting Ernst's philosophical ideas. Journey into the AI world. Beginning of Rudy Ernst's digital works. During the early 1990s, the world turns digital. Rudy Ernst, who grew up with slide rulers and multiplication tables, has had a lifelong fascination with technological advancements. He now begins to learn and integrate the new digital technologies into his traditional artworks. His son, Rudy Jr., who is in charge of the ABC Disney New Media Center in New York City, helps computerize his father's first multimedia art installation, Project Mysterialism, which shall become a part of Ernst's series Between Spirit and Matter. In 1997, together with his friend Bill Shepard, who is in charge of the computer center at the New York-based advertising agency J. Walter Thompson, Rudy Ernst creates his first animated digital AI 3D film, The Odyssey, on a powerful SGI computer. The 3-minute video is entirely based on Ernst's traditional paintings. In 1997, Rudy Ernst becomes one of ArtNet's first customers. As a result, he is invited to join an exclusive circle of painters who have their own Artist Works catalogs, AWC, in the company's vast database. Rudy Ernst creates the notion of computer-aided art, CAA, 2002 to 2009. He uses his skills to create a series of about 200 computer-aided AI images based on his own traditional artwork. He calls this technique computer-aided art, or CAA, and exhibits the resulting works in several prime New York City spaces and at the Kodak Company boardroom in Rochester, New York. And now, AI fast-forward to 2023. Recently, the art world has become spectator of a staggering increase in the world art market that is estimated to have a current value of about $62 billion. The AI 3D segment alone was counting for about $432 million back in 2019 and has been rapidly growing ever since. Some sources also believe that there could be several million art collectors in the world. In this environment, Rudy Ernst has been able to elevate many of his formerly 2D CAA computer-aided works to AI 3D levels.